Gene Autry didn't begin with fame, luck, or connections. He began with $8 and a decision. Money scraped together from brutal days baling hay under a punishing sun, saved coin by coin until he could afford a single guitar. That instrument didn't just give him music, it gave him direction. Born into instability on a struggling Texas farm, with a father chasing failed deals and a mother too sick to hold the household together, Autry grew up fast. By the time he was a boy, he was already working like a man, carrying responsibilities that didn't belong on young shoulders. Poverty wasn't a phase, it was the foundation. And yet, somewhere between church hymns and railroad shifts, he found a voice that refused to stay small. That voice followed him into long nights as a telegraph operator, where exhaustion met quiet determination. It was there, in an empty station, that a chance encounter with Will Rogers changed everything. A simple remark, that his voice belonged on the radio, planted an idea that wouldn't let go. The first attempt failed. New York chewed him up and sent him back broke. But Autry didn't stop. He went back to small stages, small crowds, and small pay, until those small moments started to grow. By the early 1930s, his music began reaching thousands, then millions. Songs like "That Silver-Haired Daddy of Mine" turned him into a voice people leaned on during hard times, and soon Hollywood came calling. But Autry wasn't just another star passing through the system. He became the system. Through the 1930s and 40s, he built an identity as America's singing cowboy, starring in nearly 100 films, dominating radio, and shaping a brand that reached far beyond entertainment. Even when studios tried to control him, or replace him with rising names like Roy Rogers, he adapted. He stepped away, fought legal battles, and made something far more powerful than fame: ownership. While others chased roles, Autry bought assets: radio stations, television networks, land, and eventually, a Major League Baseball team, the Los Angeles Angels. He wasn't just performing anymore. He was building an empire. And then came the moment that defined him in a different way. At the height of his success, earning more than most could imagine, Autry walked away and enlisted during World War II. While others stayed safe, he chose risk, flying dangerous supply missions over brutal terrain, standing in front of soldiers in war zones, bringing them a piece of home through music. It cost him years of income, momentum, and control of his career. But it revealed something deeper: the man behind the myth. When he returned, the world had shifted. His crown had been passed on, his industry changed. But once again, he rebuilt. Television became his next frontier. Ownership became his weapon. By the time most stars faded, Autry was multiplying his wealth, turning smart deals, like the purchase and eventual sale of KTLA, into massive returns. What started with $8 became hundreds of millions, spread across media, real estate, and sports. Yet the most unexpected part of his story came at the end. 2 marriages, no children. After nearly 5 decades with his first wife, her death left a silence that success couldn't fill. His second marriage raised eyebrows, a 34-year age gap that Hollywood couldn't ignore, but it also revealed a man still searching for connection late in life. And when he died in 1998 at 91, the question wasn't how much he left behind. It was who he left it to. Because there was no heir waiting. Instead of passing his empire through blood, Autry's legacy moved into foundations, museums, and institutions. His fortune didn't disappear, but it didn't follow the path people expected. It became something else. A preserved history, a controlled legacy. A story still being shaped decades later. And that's what makes it linger. Not the rise from poverty, not the fame, not even the fortune, but the quiet twist at the end. A man who built everything from nothing, and chose to leave it behind not to a family name, but to an idea of what his life had meant.